We said at 145, Fred Scott, we've got a good one. Casey Dinkle of Ellis, a senior, 24-4, matched up against John Neiswanger, a senior from Leota. Neiswanger took first at Colby by beating Park of Oakley. He's coming into this match at 14-2. And Corey Dinkle of Ellis took fourth at Colby. He's a two-time state qualifier.
Yes, and Neiswanger, guess who he probably works out with every night? He has to battle for his life every day.
Can I guess this?
Go ahead and take a guess.
Did we just see the guy on the mat?
I think we did.
Geyer, a state champ, wrestling with this guy.
And, of course, Neiswanger himself took second last year as he had to default out on an injury. And he hasn't had a lot of activity this year, so he's had some injury this year, too.
Yeah, he lost his headgear, and looks like he's wrestling with that hand also protected, that right hand in a cast over the thumb. So, again, he's had some trouble with injuries this season and his career.
That's right. You know, you mentioned losing the headgear. You know, that's something that we kind of take for granted now. But back when I was in high school, you didn't have any headgear, and you consequently wound up with a lot of boys with cauliflower ears. And about the time I started coaching, the headgear became a mandatory item. And boy, I'll tell you, I wouldn't be caught without one on a wrestling mat today.
Well, it's 2 points up front now for the wrestler from Leota. Again, he got that.
Trying to get that cradle to work. If he can step inside that leg and step across the other one, he can get him turned over there. But Dinkle's not too interested in letting him do that.
Well, he got this position set up by a reversal, leading 2-0 midway in this first period. Again, we're at 145 pounds, 320 State Wrestling Tournament from Gross Memorial Coliseum on the campus of Fort Hays State University. Lance Lippert, along with former coach and now official Fred Scott. We've got some great matchups. Again, the team race still up for grabs between Plainville and Trigo, and quite the chase for second between Hoxie, St. Francis, and possibly Trigo or Plainville. We'll see how it matches up. Right now, we've got a near fall.
Neiswanger's been able to step in there and pull him back where he wants it, but Dinkle looks like he's going to be able to turn it into a reversal instead of a near fall. And he gets the points for the reversal and ties it up.
And that's with 16 seconds to wrestle in this first period in this 145-pound weight class. 2-2, Dinkle of Ellis against Neiswanger of Leota, both seniors.
An excellent job by Dinkle there. He was in deep trouble. Neiswanger had that cradle locked up pretty tight, and it's pretty tough to come down on your back that way and snake out behind like Dinkle did.
Well, I'll tell you, if anybody knows about cradles, it's the former, I believe, St. Francis wrestler Stan Faulkner. That's where he wrestled his high school days, now the head coach at Ellis.
Yes, Stan ought to know a little bit about cradles and that sort of thing. And Stan, as you mentioned, has done an excellent job over there at Ellis. And I've always said Stan's on my list of top 6 coaches in the states that I would like to have my boys wrestle for.
It's a tremendous program at Ellis. Again, they did well in the Mid-Continent League this year. Dinkle took second in the MCL tournament. He was the Ellsworth champ in overtime, as you saw that match, and Dinkle's had a good season.
Yes, he has, and he's going to cap it off here with some kind of a medal in the state tournament, and he could even wind up with the gold here. Trying to work those legs in, and of course Neiswanger knows how to work against the legs, because he's seen a lot of them out there in western Kansas.
Well, I tell you, you have a lot of different techniques, but each technique specified for a specific body part. You know, the legs, the waist, the hip, you're always trying to neutralize something.
Well, you have to neutralize the other wrestler's hips, because that's where all of the power comes from. You know, when you go to work against somebody, if he can work his hips against you, he's got a pretty strong tool against you. But if you can neutralize his hips, and all these holds and all these moves are designed to neutralize those hips somehow.
Well, something's going to have to break. We're knotted up 2-2, and hopefully it won't be the hip. A minute to wrestle in this second period. Back when you wrestled, I thought you were going to say back when you wrestled, you had to walk 2 miles, 5 miles to practice, and they didn't have the headgear, and things have gotten a little bit easier, you're saying?
No, I don't think things have gotten easier at all. I talked to an old Fort Hays teammate of mine one year. He was coaching down at Derby, and we were talking about the teams that year, and he was telling me about how his team had kind of stunk up the gym on one tournament. And I said, yeah, but I said, you know, you look at at these kids today, and you look at us when we wrestled 25 years ago, could we stay on the mat with them? And he said, no way, not even when they're stinking up the gym. So wrestling has come a long way in the last 30 years.
Boy, it sure has. In protection of the wrestler, and again, Dinkel slams down Neiswanger.
The overall ability level is just so much higher now than it used to be.
Training, protection, diet, a lot of different techniques involved to make things safer and to make these kids stronger and quicker and faster. So, yeah, I think you're right. Well, again, another stalemate, and again, that's the second one we've seen. We're in the second period with 13 seconds left. It's all knotted up. Dinkel of Ellis against Neiswanger of Leota. Railroader against the Indian. Again, Neiswanger down to the mat. Dinkel will set up on top.
And Neiswanger's got that stand up, and he's trying to get away from there. There he goes. He's got the one-point escape. Took the lead.
Boy, he was walking that line on the edge there, wasn't he? Almost out of bounds.
Well, as long as Dinkel stayed in bounds, though, he was safe. He could have gone on out the outside that mountain. He just didn't have the reversal until he turned around and faced him.
That's going to end the second period right now, and it's the wrestler from Leota, Neiswanger, out in front. Again, he's working on a 14-2 record. He took first at the Colby Regional. He beat Park of Oakley, and Park of Oakley had a tremendous season. He took third in this tournament, downing Doreen of Minneapolis, 4-2.
Yes, Park is an excellent wrestler, and I'll tell you, it's not easy to beat him. So, Neiswanger's definitely got good credentials there.
These two wrestlers pretty evenly matched, it looks like. And to get to this spot, Dinkel beat Haflinger of Waukegan, Trigo, and he beat Park, as we said, to get to the semis, and all in decisions. On the other side, Neiswanger had one fall in his first match, and then he had a 5-0 decision over Schmeidler from Lincoln. And then he beat Stefan in the semifinals from Eudora in a 4-1 decision. It'll make it a 6-5 decision.
Right. And we're going to have to see something happening here in this third period. Dinkel's going to have to be able to get to his feet and get out of there somehow, while Neiswanger is pretty much going to be trying to work on control and keeping him down. As long as he can keep that wrist in and keep it tied up and keep Dinkel down on the mat, then he's pretty much in control. Of course, eventually somebody's going to have to do something, or the referees are going to call a stall. And so you've got a lot of things playing here.
And Neiswanger trying to make a mat sandwich out of Dinkel. And there's a whistle.
There's the warning for stalling on Neiswanger. He says he's got that arm tied up in there, and he's not doing anything with it. The rule says the top man has to come out to the side and try to apply perpendicular pressure and try to turn the man if he's on top. He can't just sit there and hang on and ride.
So the burden of proof on the guy on top. And again, there's a warning as somebody moved before they should have.
Well, actually, the burden of proof is supposed to be on both wrestlers. But when the top man has his arm tied up in there like that, then the responsibility shifts a little more in his direction. And of course, Dinkel has the responsibility to try to get out of there too.
Both wrestlers on this situation trying to anticipate the whistle, and they had a second try here, 56 seconds and counting in the third period, and it's a 3-2 lead, 1-point lead for Neiswanger of Leota over Dinkel of Ellis.
And we have to remember here now that Neiswanger's been warned once, and the next time he gets called for that, it's going to be a point, so that even that could tie it up if the official doesn't feel like he's doing his job working toward that fall. See, you notice he's getting out to the side and going back on top now, and that's trying to fulfill the rule there.
So he's making something happen, or at least initiating some perpendicular movement, right?
Probably more than that, trying to make it look like he's making something happen. You know, the secret is not necessarily to be trying to make something happen, but to make the official think you're trying to make something happen.
Coach Stan Falconer looking concerned. His guy trailing by one, a 3-2 to Neiswanger of Leota. 18 seconds left, Coach, and it looks like it's going to be a close one to finish.
Could be. A lot of things can happen in 18 seconds. And we got two young men out there going to be doing their best to try to make some of them happen.
14 seconds and counting. Again, the wrestler on top, leading by one.
Neiswanger is able to hang on to it and come out with the title.
Boy, that was close. It looked like he just needed a few more seconds, and Neiswanger picks up the win, and one of the first guys out there applauding is Coach Stan Faulkner, applauding the effort of both wrestlers, but it wasn't enough for Casey Dinkle. John Neiswanger picks up the win with a 3-2 decision over Dinkle, a senior from Ellis. Neiswanger with the win ups his record to 15-2. And so after making it to the finals for 2 years in a row, he picks up a state championship to finish off his career. And Castanoli comes over and signs the scorer's card and makes his X, and he's got the championship. Casey Dinkle ends his career at 25, a mark at 24-5. So again, the two-time state qualifier picks up a second-place finish. And the award stand, they're giving out the medals at 140 pounds. That goes to Lyle Geyer. He was the champ. As he decisioned Tim Atwood, or Tim McPhee of Atwood, at 140 pounds. And we might mention also at 145 pounds, Stefan of Eudora took 5th, and Rochelle of Plainville took 6th in this state championship tournament. Let's take a look ahead to our next matchup, and we'll give this as one of our premier encounters, I guess, of the tournament at 152.